All right, let's dive into something kind of different today. We're going to take a look at law firms,
Oh, okay.
but not in the usual way.
Sure.
We're going beyond, the billable hours and revenue and all those typical metrics.
Right.
We're going for a more unique look at how these firms actually function.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to be using this thing called the Law Firm Maturity Index.
LFMI?
Yeah, the LFMI, exactly. And it's a database that analyzes law firms in they call it a human systems framework.
Okay.
So it's a,
Different way of looking at things.
yeah, it's like looking at the whole picture, like the culture and leadership.
How they treat employees.
Exactly, clients, all that.
Interesting.
And this index was created by the Maturity Institute. And they're all about, responsible capitalism. So it's not just about profits.
Right, right.
So the LFMI goes beyond just looking at the money. They measure something called Total Stakeholder Value, or TSV.
TSV,
Yeah, so it's about the impact a firm has on everyone involved, not just the shareholders.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that's the background. But why should GCs care about this? Like, what's the takeaway for them?
Well, if you're a GC, you're responsible for picking which law firms to work with.
Right.
You want a firm that shares your company's values, delivers great work,
Of course.
and isn't a pain to work with.
Definitely. Nobody wants a legal partner that causes more problems.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the LFMI can be really helpful. It gives GCs data-driven insights into a firm's culture, leadership,
So,
even their commitment to things like ethical practices and employee well-being.
so it's like before you even meet with them, you can get a sense of what they're all about.
Yeah, exactly. You can spot any potential issues early on.
Find firms that are a good fit.
You can even use the data when negotiating fees and stuff.
Interesting.
It's all about building stronger, more strategic partnerships.
I see. So it's not just about picking a name off a list. It's about really understanding who you're working with. Okay, so that's how it can be used. But what's the LFMI actually telling us about these firms?
Well, one thing that surprised me is that UK law firm maturity is kind of low.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the average rating is BBB. And to be considered like a mature exemplar, you need to be A+ or above.
So there's room for improvement.
Definitely.
Yeah, BBB is not exactly an A+.
No, not quite.
So where are they falling short?
One big thing is that they're still so focused on the billable hour.
The billable hour, everyone hates it.
I know, right? It can lead to inefficiencies and even conflicts of interest.
It's like they're stuck in the past.
Yeah, and it's funny because most firms say they care about more than just profit.
Right, they all have their mission statements and values.
Exactly. But the data shows that very few actually live up to those ideals.
So it's one thing to say it and another to actually do it.
Yeah, and that leads to another interesting thing the LFMI measures: authenticity.
Authenticity. What does that even mean for a law firm?
Well, it's about the gap between what a firm says it does and what it actually does.
Oh, I see.
Like those firms that brag about their amazing culture.
Right, work-life balance.
Yeah, but then their employees are all burned out.
So the LFMI can help GCs spot the fakers?
Exactly. It can reveal inconsistencies.
Okay, so we've got the billable hour issue and authenticity. What else is the LFMI highlighting?
There are a few specific areas where a lot of firms score poorly, like culture measurement, adaptability, and assessing people risks.
Let's break those down. What does the data say about how firms are handling those things?
Well, with culture measurement, a lot of firms talk about their great culture, but the data shows they don't have systems in place to actually measure it or improve it.
So they don't really know what's going on internally.
Basically, yeah. And then with adaptability, many firms are resistant to change.
Which is a problem in today's world.
Huge problem. Things are changing so fast.
Right, you got to be able to keep up.
Exactly. And then there's people. Risk assessment. The data shows that a lot of firms aren't paying enough attention to things like burnout,
Mental health.
diversity and inclusion.
You'd think those would be priorities in such a demanding profession,
You would, but it seems like they're often overlooked.
which can have serious consequences in the long run.
Oh, absolutely. It can impact performance, reputation, everything.
So the LFMI is kind of like a wake-up call.
Yeah, it's highlighting areas where firms need to evolve.
Create a better workplace for everyone.
Exactly. It's about raising the bar.
Okay, so we've talked about the data and where firms are falling short, but how can GCs actually use this information?
Well, that's a great question, and one we'll explore further as we continue our deep dive.
Sounds good. So, okay, let's say I'm a GC
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking for a new law firm.
Okay.
I've got all these proposals, everyone's talking themselves up.
Right.
But now I've got this LFMI data.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can see right through them,
Yeah, it's like having X-ray vision.
Exactly. so I could start asking some tougher questions in those pitch meetings.
Absolutely.
Not just about their experience and all that,
Right.
but about their culture, their values.
How they handle things like diversity and inclusion, which, the data shows a lot of firms struggle with.
I bet that catches them off guard.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's important.
Yeah.
These questions can really show you what a firm is truly like. You can ask about quality control, how they encourage innovation.
How they manage those people risks we talked about.
Exactly. And then you can compare their answers to the LFMI data.
See if they're actually walking the walk.
Yeah, because a bad culture at a law firm can really mess things up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Even if they have great lawyers, it can lead to all sorts of problems.
Miscommunication, missed deadlines.
Cost overruns, damage to your company's reputation.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
So using the LFMI can help GCs avoid those kinds of situations.
Right. Find partners that are a good fit.
It's about moving beyond just a transaction,
More like a true partnership.
Exactly. One built on respect, transparency.
Working together towards a common goal.
Right. And that's where the real value is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we wrap up, I have one more question for you.
Okay, shoot.
Imagine you're a GC. You've got all this LFMI data at your fingertips. What's the one thing you would focus on most when choosing a law firm?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so much to consider.
I know, but if you had to pick just one metric, what would it be?
You know what? I think I'd go with authenticity.
That gap between what they say and what they actually do.
Exactly, because ultimately, trust is the foundation of any good partnership. And the LFMI's authenticity measure can really tell you if a firm is genuine, if they truly live up to their values.
It's like a trustometer.
Yeah, and if the needle's pointing in the right direction, you've found a good one.
That's a great takeaway. Look beyond the marketing, do your research, and find partners you can trust.
Partners who share your values.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of law firm maturity.
I hope so. It's a fascinating topic.
We've talked about the data, the challenges, the opportunities.
And how GCs can use this information to make better decisions.
Hopefully it's given everyone some food for thought.
Maybe even spark some ideas about how to approach your own relationships with law firms.
So, until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions.
And keep pushing for a more responsible and sustainable legal profession.
Thanks for joining us.